Good afternoon, students. Today we are dealing with the next part of the skull, next view, that is a basal view known as the norma basalis. So we have covered the frontal view, superior view, that is norma verticalis, lateral view, norma lateralis, and the posterior view, that is norma occipitalis. So this is quite difficult part of the skull, that is the norma basalis. So many minute structures are there. So you take your skull in your hand and see all the structures. So this norma basalis extend. Now this is the inferior view. When you see in anatomical position, it is like this. So it starts from the alveolar socket till the occipital bone. So we are viewing the skull like this. So this is the anterior end and this is the posterior end. Now for study purpose, the skull, the basal view is divided into three areas: anterior part, middle part, and a posterior part. Now how this division is there? The anterior part consists of alveolar sockets, and this part is known as the hard palate. That is the anterior part. Then imagine a line which is passing through, this is a foramen magnum. So passing through the anterior part of foramen magnum like this. So from the palate till this line, running through this line is a middle area. This is a middle region. And behind that, this is a posterior aspect. So today we will study the parts of norma basalis, anterior and middle part. And in tomorrow's demo, we will study the rest of the region and the attachments and the foramina. On norma basalis, there are so many foramina through which important structures are passing. So first we'll see the parts of norma basalis. Anterior part. Anterior part has this alveolar socket for the upper teeth. This area, this is known as hard palate. Now see closely. If you can see closely, this hard palate, it is made up of 4 bones. So these two, they are known as palatine process of maxilla bone. You know, this is a maxilla bone. This is a body, frontal process, zygomatic process, alveolar process. Now one more process is this. This is known as a palatine process of maxilla. So these two are by this, and in between there you can see a line. This is known as intermaxillary suture between the two. Behind you can see 2 small plates. Sorry. Behind you can see 2 small plates. These two, they are from the horizontal plates of palatine bone. These 2 plates are from horizontal plates of palatine bone. In between, again you can see one suture. This line, this is known as interpalatine suture. So we have hard palate formed by 4 plates. 2 anteriorly are horizontal plates of maxilla with the intermaxillary suture. Behind is palatine process of maxilla with the interpalatine suture. Now these 4 plates are again united by a line. This line is known as the palatomaxillary suture. Hope it is clear, the very minute part. So we have intermaxillary suture, interpalatine suture, and this is the palatomaxillary suture line. Okay, so this is how a hard palate is formed. Now this is a posterior border of hard palate, which is free. So there is attachment of muscles of soft palate. So this is a posterior border which is free. Now this area, This is known as posterior nasal spine. Similarly, we have here anteriorly on frontalis, anterior nasal spine. So similar area extending behind, this is a posterior nasal spine. Okay. Now see on this hard palate, on the anterior most region, just beneath the incisor teeth. This is incisors. So just beneath the incisors, you can see one opening. This is known as incisive canal or incisive foramina. Here you can make out. This is a incisive canal or incisive foramina. Now within this, if you see closely inside, there are two foraminas, incisive foraminas, one on either side. They may be there or may be fused. So don't worry about that. Just see if it is there. There are incisive foraminas. Then as you go down from this incisive foramina, there is a screw extending from this region. And just behind, just that groove, if you see, it is ending into another foramina on this palatine process. So this opening here is known as greater palatine foramina. This is known as greater palatine foramina. Similarly, this area, this is a molar area, molar tooth area. So this area is known as perpendicular plate of palatine bone. This is known as perpendicular plate of palatine bone. So here you can make out some openings. There can be 1, 2, 3. These are known as lesser palatine foramina. All these openings are known as lesser palatine foramina. Now from this greater palatine foramina, there is a line which is extending medially like this. From greater palatine foramina, a line is extending medially towards this posterior nasal spine. This is known as palatine crest. This part is known as palatine crest. So hard palate formed by horizontal plates of maxilla, palatine process of maxilla and horizontal plates of palatine bone with intermaxillary, interpalatine and palatomaxillary suture. Anteriorly, there is an incisive foramina. Posteriorly, there is a greater palatine and lesser palatine foramina. From greater palatine foramina, there is a curvy line extending that is known as palatine crest. Okay. That is a palatine crest. So that is the anterior region, alveolar margin and a hard palate. Now when you go behind, see in anatomical position it is like this. So in the middle part we will see. So middle part is starting from posterior border of hard palate to the anterior margin of foramen magnum. Now here in this area you can make out there is a middle region and a lateral area. This middle region consists of pterygoid plates. This is known as the pterygoid plates or pterygoid process, and a greater wing of sphenoid bone. Greater wing of sphenoid bone. And laterally, in the lateral region, we have this part known as petrous part of temporal bone, squamous part of temporal bone, and a tympanic plate. This is an external acoustic meatus, your ear. So this is a tympanic plate. So we have three parts of temporal bone: squamous part, petrous part, and a tympanic plate. And this is a median region where you see vomer bone and a broad bar of bone in the middle area. See again. So in the median area, we have this vomer bone, this broad bar of bone, and lateral area, we have the pterygoid processes, greater wing of sphenoid bone, that is 2 parts from sphenoid bone, and 3 parts from the temporal bone, that is a petrous part, squamous part, and a tympanic plate. So first we'll see the middle area. In the middle area, you can see this is a vomer bone separating the 2 nasal apertures. This part medially is a vomer bone. So in anatomical position, this position, anteriorly it is articulating with the palate, posterior border of palate, and in the lower margin, inferiorly. And in the upper part, here, in the upper part, here it is articulating with the sphenoid bone. This area is known as rostrum of sphenoid bone. So vomer is articulating in the upper area, rostrum of the sphenoid bone. Now just behind that, you can see this area, this broad bar of bone, which is formed by body of sphenoid bone. When you see the interior part of the skull, you will see this same area is forming the body of sphenoid bone inside. So we have this body of sphenoid bone, and this area, this is known as the basilar part of occipital bone. Basilar part of occipital. So broad bar of bone formed by body of sphenoid and basilar part of occipital bone. Now if you see this process, you can see one elevation here. This elevation on this broad bar of bone is known as pharyngeal tubercle. This is known as pharyngeal tubercle. A small elevation, you can feel it here. That is known as pharyngeal tubercle. So this is a median area. Now see laterally. First we'll see the pterygoid processes. So these pterygoid processes, they are projected from the behind this third molar tooth from the perpendicular plate of palatine bone. So if you see in anatomical position, anteriorly they are fused and posteriorly they are separated by a V-shaped fossa. V-shaped fossa known as pterygoid fossa. So anteriorly both are fused together, posteriorly they are separated. Now this pterygoid process is made up of 2 plates, medial pterygoid plate. This is known as a medial pterygoid plate and this is known as lateral pterygoid plate. Now each pterygoid plate has a medial surface again and a lateral surface. Medial surface, lateral surface. Now if you see this medial pterygoid plates, it's inferiorly you can see one process. This is known as pterygoid hamulus, and superiorly here you can make out superiorly you can see a boat shaped fossa. This is known as scaphoid fossa. A boat shaped fossa known as a scaphoid fossa, and this is a posterior border. So inferiorly we have pterygoid hamulus, superiorly there is a scaphoid fossa and a posterior border. So always see in a anatomical position. For study purpose we are studying like this, but in anatomical position when you are reading about these areas, superior part is upper part and this is inferior part. Then see the lateral pterygoid plate. Here you can make out again medial surface, lateral surface and a posterior border. Now here the posterior border is like in the form of a plate. This is known as pterygospinous process. This plate here is known as pterygospinous process. So just see again, two plates, medial and lateral pterygoid plates suspended from the perpendicular plate of palatine bone, separated inferiorly by a pterygoid fossa. The medial pterygoid plate has medial surface, lateral surface, pterygoid hamulus inferiorly and scaphoid fossa superiorly. Lateral pterygoid plate, it has medial surface, lateral surface and a plate that is a posterior border in the form of plate that is a pterygospinous process. Now see the next part, greater wing of sphenoid bone. Now this pterygoid process, it is separated from the body of maxilla by one fissure here that is known as pterygomaxillary fissure. Pterygomaxillary fissure. Then see this area, this is known as greater wing of sphenoid bone. It is pentagonal in shape. So its anterior margin is formed by posterior part of inferior orbital fissure. This is a inferior orbital fissure. So it is formed by posterior margin of inferior orbital fissure. This is the anterolateral margin, which is formed by infratemporal crest. Then posterolateral margin, which is formed by the squamous temporal bone. This is a posteromedial margin, which is formed by this petrous temporal bone. And anteriorly, it is continuous with this pterygoid processes. So it is quite a difficult part. Just see, understand this, the pentagonal process here. So this is the anterior margin formed by posterior part of inferior orbital fissure, anterolateral by the infratemporal crest, posterolateral by the squamous temporal, posteromedial by the petrous temporal, and anteriorly continuous with the pterygoid processes. Now see the posteromedial margin carefully. I hope it is clear. This is a posteromedial margin. Okay. So when you see from this scaphoid fossa, just behind that, posterolateral to that, you can see an oval shape opening. This is known as foramen ovale. It is an opening and so many structures pass through it that we'll see tomorrow. So you can see here, this is a foramen ovale. Behind that, you can see one more opening. That is known as foramen spinosum. Now, sometimes between the scaphoid fossa and foramen ovale, there is one more opening. It is here present in this skull. This is known as emissary sphenoidal foramina or foramina of Vesalius. So it just passes emissary vein. So sometimes it is present in many of the skulls. You may not get this. So this is known as emissary sphenoidal foramina or foramina of Vesalius. And sometimes between ovale and spinosum, one more foramina is present known as canaliculus innominatus. Then behind this foramen spinosum, you can see one more projection. This is known as spine. This is known as spine of the sphenoid bone. This part is the spine of the sphenoid bone. So this posteromedial margin is pierced by foramina. Start from scaphoid fossa, foramen ovale, spinosum, and spinosphenoid. Two additional foramina, that is foramen of Vesalius between scaphoid fossa and foramen ovale, and canaliculus innominatus between ovale and spinosum may present. So this is about the greater wing of sphenoid. Now from spine you can see some line passing, that is known as the sulcus tubae, where lies the cartilaginous part of auditory tube. So that is there. Then we will see the parts of a temporal bone. So here you can make out this area. This is known as the mandibular fossa, where the head of the mandible articulates. Mandibular head of the mandible here articulates, forming the temporomandibular joint. And from here, there arises a temporal, the zygomatic process of temporal bone. So here, this elevation is known as root of this zygoma. Then here you can make out a small plate. This small plate. This is known as tympanic plate of temporal bone. So it is contributing to your external acoustic meatus, tympanic plate. And just on the side here, this is known as the petrous part of temporal bone. So now this petrous part is projecting inside towards the medial area where there is a opening you can make out. This is known as the foramen lacerum. This opening where the apex of this petrous temporal is projecting, this foramina here, this is known as the foramen lacerum, this area. This is apex, this is a posterior part. So in this posterior part, you can see this opening. This is known as a carotid canal. So carotid canal pierces from the posterior aspect of petrous temporal bone and it travels to the bone and then it goes inside the skull near the cavernous sinus. So that internal carotid artery passes through it. From here, you know it is in the neck. So it goes through this foramina, carotid canal, passes through the petrous bone and then it enters inside the skull to supply the brain. It is the main supply to the brain and cranial cavity. So that is about the anterior part and the middle part of the Norma Bisalis. It is, I know it is quite difficult. So you all go through these parts, see all these openings in your own skull if you have with you. And then we will see the posterior part. This is a foramen magnum. These are the occipital condyles. Condylar part of occipital bone. This is a squamous part of occipital bone. So just go through these two parts. Here only there are a lot of areas and lot of structures are present. So in tomorrow's demo, we will see the posterior aspect of Norma Bisalis along with the attachments and the structures passing through foramina. So just go through these two areas. Thank you.